These front squats, they they are definitely something else. I really had to focus on what I had noticed on Sunday, with making sure that I wasn't dumping the bar as I was coming up with the weight. And man, that takes so much focus, going through and being able to get it set properly. Um, I can imagine that it's probably okay to have a little bit of forward travel with the bar whenever you're picking it up. But there's more than likely a point to where you want to avoid having too much to prevent yourself from dipping forward and losing the clean um, portion. It's a front squat, but losing the actual rep of getting the bar, standing the bar up, because it'll just pull you over. It's just kind of how it feels sometimes. And oh my God, it just blasts the glutes for me. And it is so much work on the core. It's totally different than back squats. And there's a marked difference in the reps whenever I'm doing this, to where the ones where I'm dumping, leaning forwards, and the ones where I'm standing straight up with the bar. And there's a lot of focus and concentration that goes into making sure I can do it right, because just a half second, like that one right there, I'm leaning forward. That one, I'm leaning forward. And on this one, at least in my mind, it felt like I was keeping it upright. And there's so much focus on activating the hips and the glutes and forcing that weight up, using those while keeping upright instead of leaning forward and relying on the quads and the hamstrings. But not just like independently, but independently using the glutes, but like making those the main movers of that motion. Like that one right there, solid rep. Second rep, solid rep. Like this is avoiding leaning forward. That third rep, I leaned forward, focused, lean forward again, and really focused hard on this last rep. And I leaned. I'm not sure if this is the right way to think about it. With trying to avoid leaning and trying to, do at least what I think is correct. But I don't know. I feel like I'm doing it better when I'm staying upright, but I'm just not 100% certain. Like on this fifth set, I really focused hard on making sure that things were as by the books, at least as I perceived them, as I could. But I don't even know if that's correct. You need to do some more research into that. But man, at least the way that I'm focusing on it, it just blasts the glutes, and it makes it a little difficult to go in and do deadlifts after this, because my glutes are already blasted and ready to go. I've already done so much work and load on them, and then going in and doing deadlifts and making sure that I'm focusing on glute activation with this. It's just more and more work on the glutes, and the muscles are definitely getting worked. I'm still not getting a lot of core activation in the deadlifts at the moment, just because it's only 275, and it's a weight that I can muscle up. But one thing I was really focusing on whenever I was doing this was making sure that I had my hips low. I had good control over my my hips and legs. I'm coming up. I'm not letting everything rise up too quickly, and I wasn't letting the weight come down too quickly on the way down. I kind of do let it drop a little bit more than I probably should, but I think that's just a luxury of being at home and not in like a commercial gym, to where I can afford to kind of make a little bit more noise. I don't feel a need to cater to people that aren't around, but I did focus on that in the last set, trying to keep things a little more controlled. And I think on this set right here, I wonder if you could see it, I like ripped my leg open. Actually, it's something kind of interesting looking at this. Let me see if it comes up in this set. I think my knees might be too far forward, but they quickly get out of the way. So they're not completely over the toes. They're not too far forward. No, I think that's just kind of a trick of the eye. Thinking that might be something to address, which is, would be a consequence of the hips having problems. Um, but man, but anyway, with the bar, I like ripped my right shin open after ripping it on the axle bar on Sunday, and there was a point where I was just kind of walking around like, man, why does my leg feel sweat? I don't think that's why I looked down. My right shin was just like had a ton of blood on it, so I had to wipe that off and just make sure that I wasn't like hitting it too hard with the bar when I was deadlifting. But that last set there was pretty good. I really focused on control on the way down and making sure that everything was, in a good controlled fashion, just to make sure that I was able to fully engage and utilize my hips. And then coming through here, I decided, hey, I'm going to do dumbbell presses and just really kind of feel those out to make sure that I can help develop my chest. So I decided to do 4 sets of 12 at 40 pounds, just something that was fairly manageable for me to do, and just kind of knock that out as a way to get started. I think I'm just going to do presses 3 days a week. It's nothing super taxing on the chest, and it helps get that development back on track with helping grow the muscle and utilize it. I'll probably add in a couple more as time goes on, but I think I'm just going to do that 3 days a week on just somewhat light exercises to help develop the chest, because really the only way to get the chest going is to do it 2 or 3 times a week, every single week, because it's one of those muscles that just does not develop well with like 1 time a week sessions. And I'll probably add in some tricep work, on an odd day here or there, just to be able to help increase that push after the sticking point on bench. But it's time to start getting back into this, because I've never been able to do 2 plates. It's been a huge goal of mine to be able to accomplish that, and I just want to push for it. So why not choose now to make it happen? And after I've kind of hit my 500-pound deadlift, granted not on a deadlift bar, but I know what the weight feels like. I know how to move it. I just need to learn how to move it on my deadlift bar. So I know the path I need to take to get there, and I just need to set myself on it and do it. So while I'm playing with front squats and playing with my deadlifts, and I've got those figured out and on a good track, it's time to get back with bench press a little bit. But I don't think I'm going to do bench press for a while specifically, just because bench is kind of like a very hard movement on yourself to do, especially to train. It just involves a lot of muscles that can't handle a load like that in excess. So doing something like dumbbells works really well, just because it's more independent and it's less strain on your shoulders, at least in my experience. And part of that could come from my technique with my bench press. That last set I only got 9 reps in out of the 12, but after that 9th I could just feel I've got nothing left. If I had somebody there to assist me, I'd probably push through and do the last 3 reps, but I'll just call that good for now. And I'll be doing it again on Thursday anyway, so no point in trying to force through it. I'll do it a few times, figure it out, and keep going from there. The progress with the front squats, I can absolutely tell that I'm getting close to a limit on that, just because it's getting hard. The RPE in the sets starts at like RPE 6 or 7, and that last one just ramped up to like an 8 or a 9. So that's going to be something that is going to be hard to get through. I've got 3 more sessions left until I would push for 5 sets of 5 at 225. I'm not going to stop. If I get close and I get a couple sets in of the 225, I can't quite make it through all 5. I might just park at 225 and just work on that weight a little bit. See if I can just build familiarity with it and be able to do it that way. Because I have done that before, to where I've gotten close on something. It's like, all right, let me let me review this and just kind of work on it a little bit until I get a good enough feeling to push forward and keep going. So I will just kind of keep at it. Hopefully, things go well on Thursday and Saturday, and I can hopefully get through all 4 sets of the dumbbell presses and just continue to work on developing chest from there. I will probably add in something like flies or some other chest specific exercise I can do at home, and just work on it from there.